despite what so many people like to tell you, this probably isn't the best pre-workout in the world, in the same way this probably isn't the best pre-workout in the world. Today, let's break down pre-workout meals and the best ways to go about putting together a pre-workout meal. And before we even get stuck into this video, click the link in my description for a free ebook with a ton of pre-workout recipes. So there are two key things you have to consider when it comes to making the perfect pre-workout meal. Number one is the components of that meal, and number two is the timing. So how much time do you have from eating that meal before you go to the gym? I love this, pre-workout science, ridiculous, but important. And by the way, it is also worth noting that research tells us the most important factor is quite literally just not feeling hungry while you're training. So whereas there will be better and worse pre-workout meals in different situations, in the grand scheme of things, the main thing is making sure that you don't feel hungry. So let's dive into the key components of what I consider to be the closest thing to a perfect pre-workout meal. Number one has got to be carbohydrates. I'm sorry, keto people. I'm sorry, carnivore people. You can't dispute this one. You can't argue that carbs increase performance in the gym. Whether they're slow-acting carbs or fast-acting carbs, they're both fantastic for different purposes. The second thing would probably be salts or electrolytes or something like that. This might likely help with performance, overall hydration, and muscle function. Number three would be a blood flow enhancer. Now, I'm not talking about synthetic blood flow enhancers, I'm talking about ones that are found in food. More on that later. 4, caffeine. Caffeine does give you a marginally small performance increase in the gym. It's definitely not a necessity, but it could be something that you find useful when it comes to improving your performance ever so slightly in the gym. And number 5 would be protein. And the reason being, you don't necessarily need protein pre-workout. Not that having protein is gonna hinder your workout performance, it just doesn't necessarily need to be there. However, what I would say is you can use protein to further manage your blood sugar response to having your pre-workout meal. More on that in just a second. There are definitely some things I would consider entirely avoiding or reducing when it comes to putting together your pre-workout meal. So those two things would be a lot of fat and also fiber. The reason being, these two things can be quite heavy on your digestive system. You might find they cause bloating, stomach upset, or just hinder your workout in some way. But all of those core components are effectively irrelevant if we look at them by themselves. The second most key component here is time. What is your window of eating before training? Now, I would recommend anywhere from 2 hours to 40 minutes before training. I would advise probably not eating within a 40-minute window of training. The reason being, you might still be doing some digestion and it might result in some issues during that workout with digestion, etc. And also the food you've eaten hasn't really had a chance to kind of mobilize per se, unless it's a simple carbohydrate. So let's dive into that part now. So timing. If you have a longer window before working out, i.e. 2 hours, you can definitely afford to have more complex carbs. You could definitely afford to have some protein in there as well, and maybe more fiber and fat as well. It gives you a longer window to digest that food before you train. If you have less time, so 40 minutes or even half an hour, I would definitely advise going more towards simpler carbohydrate sources exclusively. I would definitely think about stepping back on the fiber and the fat and the protein and think much more about faster acting carbohydrate sources. So if you have a longer window, let's say 2 hours to an hour before training, definitely go for some more complex carbohydrate sources alongside the fast acting. You could think about sweet potatoes, potato, whole organic jumbo oats, or a more whole oat, let's say a less processed oat rather than a heavily processed oatmeal, rice, and then some fruit components, maybe apple, banana, plantain, that sort of thing. And then the closer you get to that training window, think about more fast acting carbohydrates. You want to be spending less time digesting and more time mobilizing that fuel for that workout. So sugary cereals can be really useful for this, obviously. Cheerios are fantastic. Some of the best workouts I've ever had have been shortly after a bowl of Cheerios. Call it coincidence or just call it good carbohydrates. You have slightly more milled down or processed oatmeals like instant oatmeal, for example, cream of rice. You have cereals, you have granola, syrups, honey, dare I say it, even fruit juice or sweets or chocolate can actually be quite useful in this context. People that don't understand nutrition will get upset about that, but in certain contexts, these things can be really flipping useful. Then you have the salt or electrolyte component. Now, people are obsessing over taking these very overpriced electrolytes to fuel their workouts. If your workout is just a hypertrophy resistance-based session, man, I don't know if you need to be taking an entire electrolyte supplement. Those things are designed for people that are doing huge runs and are actually sweating a lot and massively depleting their salts. So like, yes, I think they can be useful. Salt does definitely help with hydration, muscle function, contractile properties, and a pump as well. It can really, really help. I don't think you need to be taking an entire electrolyte tablet to do so. You could either half an electrolyte tablet or just add some salt to your meal. And you can do that for pretty much any pre-workout meal you're having. It's pretty damn easy to get some salt involved. And then you have blood flow enhancers. This is a personal favorite of mine. No, you don't need to be taking some crazy blood flow enhancing supplement. You can do this pretty damn effectively through different foods. So the most effective one here would be beetroot or beetroot juice or beetroot powder, none of which taste particularly nice. You can buy beetroot shots. You can use beetroot mixed into like a pre-workout smoothie alongside berries. I have done a post on that. I'll link that somewhere, probably in the description. It's not the best tasting thing in the world, but I promise you, beetroot gives you one of the most obscene pumps you'll ever experience. And also, if you're making a smoothie, it's an opportunity to add a bunch of useful carbohydrates and other factors that might likely boost your performance as well in the gym. Then you have pomegranate. So pomegranate is also a blood flow enhancer, not quite as potent as beetroot juice. Pomegranate seeds, pomegranate juice, really, really useful pre-workout. Then you have cacao and dark chocolate. I like using cacao nibs as part of a pre-workout meal, or dark chocolate, usually past 70–75%, is going to likely help with some blood flow too. I would say with blood flow enhancers though, it looks like you definitely want to be taking them about 2 hours before training to give your body ample time to kind of mobilize them and actually dilate your blood vessels, right? So definitely an hour to 2 hours for those blood flow enhancers. The last component is protein. Now, honestly, anything really. I would say any leaner side of protein, eggs, lean ground meat, tuna, mackerel, like whatever, it doesn't matter too much. Again, it's not an essential component of a pre-workout meal. You don't want to be dedicating energy towards digesting proteins when you don't need to be, okay? At the end of the day, you want your muscles fueled with carbs and maybe some salt and some blood flow enhancer potentially, and you're sweet. So that, in my opinion, is how we go about putting together the best pre-workout meal. And as I said, it is very much dependent on how much time you have. So complex carbohydrate sources alongside some fast acting ones and maybe some protein and maybe some fiber. If you have more time before your workout, i.e. about 2 hours. If you have less time, like an hour, 40 minutes, half an hour, go much more towards fast acting carbohydrate sources like cereals, for example, or banana, other fruits, etc., that have a little bit more fast acting fuel for your body. I'll give you an example of a pretty damn solid pre-workout meal. A bowl of whole organic jumbo oats that I have about an hour and a half to 2 hours before training. This is much more of a complex carb source. It will break down quite slowly. Theoretically, it should give me a much more sustained amount of energy throughout my workout. I add frozen berries to that, so like blueberries or pomegranate seeds for the blood flow, for example. I then add a load of dark chocolate or cacao nibs for the blood flow as well. I add some honey for some sweetness and some faster acting carbs if I want that. And I then add a few cracks of salt on top just to make sure my salt levels have in fact gone up. You could also add some butter for a tiny bit of fat as well. So what you have there is a pretty damn solid pre-workout meal addressing all of those boxes. If I had less time, let's say 45 minutes, I might have a bagel with some peanut butter and some banana and some honey. There you have a couple of layers of carbohydrates there, all of which are somewhat fast acting. A processed bagel is somewhat fast acting. You then have banana and honey, and you also have the salt in the peanut butter as well. And if you wanted more salt, you could always crack more on there as well. But if you want much more pre-workout recipes, I've now made a full pre-workout recipe ebook, and I will link that in the description for you. It breaks down everything you need to know about putting together the best pre-workout alongside a fair few recipes for you as well. This is the approach that I'd recommend taking when it comes to putting together the perfect pre-workout meal. And I would say that when you do this and you do it properly, you can expect some pretty damn good sessions and you're not really leaving any other stones unturned. I'm not really a big fan of pre-workout supplements. I don't think you necessarily need them. If you want to, of course you can. On the caffeine point, just have an espresso or a little coffee before you train. If you really want to do that, I don't think you necessarily need to be taking these crazy pre-workout supplements with crazy high doses of caffeine and other things. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed. I hope it works. Definitely do download the ebook, have a little look through it, try the recipes. Let me know what you think, and I will see you next week.